Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mazi Ezoke, and I welcome you all to this evening Friday hangout. It's another Friday. It's a wonderful day, and I say to you, it has been an amazing week. We've done all we can for the week, a lot of activities. For many of you who are in this part of the world, we are not getting better. Things are indeed still, as the former president predicted, things are still going from top to bottom.
ABC, Nigeria, from top to bottom, top to bottom.
Top to bottom indeed. We were forewarned that we were going to go from top to bottom. Many of us didn't know what that meant, but now we understand critically what that meant to go from top to bottom. This evening, I will be having a conversation with an Amazon that many of you know very well. It will be my delight to have her in the studio to, discuss the issue at hand today. Today, we will be discussing the comment made by Mojahid Asari Dokubo that the Nigerian military are the ones stealing the oil in the Niger Delta. And we can connect a dot to say, has Asari Dokubo become Tinubu's spokesperson? And has he become also the head of his private army? We can say, has he become the private army chief? If you recall what is happening with the Wagner group in Russia, some of you on the social media have drawn conclusion that Nigeria has everything to fear. Asari Dokubo, in a recent video that has trended that many of you have seen, he has unequivocally said that he is providing security in certain quarters in Nigeria. Let's see if my guest is ready. Cizankio Briggs, if you're there, could we quickly welcome you to this program? Are you there? Okay. Okay, you're back on. So you're welcome to Njenje Media TV.
Thank you very much for having me. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Like I said at the introduction, what we are here to do is to look at the allegation by the former Ijaw Youth Movement president, who alluded
Ijaw Youth Council.
President. Ijaw Youth Council president. Yeah. Who, on a visit to Asarok, who visited Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Asarok, and sat at the seat of power in Asarok as a civilian, and made some utterances that many people in the last 1 week, people have been speaking about it. I have seen one of the interviews you've granted to AIT and the other channels as well, where partly those were issues of discussion. But as someone who also an activist over the years, you have fought for the rights of your people, and you have fought for the rights of many downtrodden in Nigeria, and as an environmental activist. I would start by saying, when you heard that many people said that Asari Dokubo made a revolution, do you consider that a revolution, or do you think that is something that has been known? By the way, it's not the first time we have heard that. The former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, at some point mentioned names of military men who are stealing the oil in the Niger Delta. Does it mean that the Niger Delta appear, helpless, that men who are posted to provide security in their region are now being in charge and commingling and basically stealing the resources of the nation? What's your take?
You asked two questions there. Good evening, everyone. You've asked two questions. The first one, thank you. I'm fidgeting with this your system, but okay, I think that's better. The first question you posed is whether what Asari has said is a revelation. It is not a revelation. It is a known fact that that some members of the armed forces, I cannot say that all of them are involved, but definitely some members of the forces that are in the creeks of the Niger Delta are known to be involved in this long-term, this long-term stealing of crude oil. Many people are aware of it, including myself, to the extent that I live in that place. That is my community. I'm part of that creek community. I come from Abonima. So it is a known fact that some of them are involved in the process of looting the resources that is in the Niger Delta creeks. Now, whether the Niger Delta people or the job people, to be particular, when you come to the creeks, are helpless. We're not helpless. We didn't bring those people there. The federal government brought them. And the federal government claimed that this oil and gas resources is theirs, and that the pipeline is also theirs. Therefore, and theirs and the oil companies. Therefore, they are bringing in the military to protect the pipelines and to protect the people from stealing from the pipeline or from the wellheads, whether those people be the international mafia or whether they be the national mafia or whether they be some of our own people. But there is oil theft going on and it continues to go on. I do not believe that the Niger Delta people are responsible, or the Ijaw people, or any other ethnic nationality that owns the oil that the federal government has taken a hold of and claiming it through the instrumentality of the 1999 Constitution. And these are, for me, as someone who has fought for the rights of oil-producing communities, whether they be in Abia or whether they be in Imo or Ondo or Bayelsa, anywhere there is oil, that oil should belong to the people on whose land it is found. And in actual fact, what should happen is that the states that has that oil in their state should be the ones, the governors should be the ones, and the people should be the ones that should lay ownership, and the federal government will be paid tax, which is what was done during the time of cocoa and granite, which in terms of the returns of cocoa and granite compared to the returns of oil and gas, you cannot compare. Oil and gas is far more, brings in far more than cocoa and granite and ginger ever did in the colonial days, or even now that everybody has abandoned agriculture. So one, I do not think that Asari has made any revelation that is not known to us and to the army and to the federal government and to NNPC and to the Ministry of Petroleum. Anybody who works in the oil industry and has a stake in the oil industry is aware that theft is going on. Oil theft is not just what you do in the creeks and put in both ships and take off to the international waters. It is also the issue of a subsidy payment is a form of oil theft. The issue of people owning oil wells just because they are retired generals or they are traditional rulers from other parts of the Niger Delta. I do not know any other parts of Nigeria. I don't know any traditional ruler in the Niger Delta, whether it be from Bayelsa to Delta to Rivers State to Akwa Ibom, the major four oil producing states. I don't know of any traditional ruler that has one or two oil wells, except the businessman the late Obi Lulu Briggs. And he had his own, I mean, he's been doing his own oil for a very long time. So when you compare the amount of people that benefit from this oil, the amount of people that steal it, the amount of people that pay so that they can be posted to the Niger Delta region, you can begin to see that for me, this is not news, what Asari said.
Okay. So now, does it not worry you that a nation as big as Nigeria, in some cases, does not appear to know the amount of oil that it extracts? In some points, we thought that they didn't know. But there was a report that came out from Arise TV showing that the equipment and the technology to know the amount of oil coming out is also known. Let's basically look at this.
Oil theft in Nigeria has been an open secret for a very long time. Now, why no serious action has been taken to curb the menace is what Nigerians are asking. Here at the NNPC Command and Control Center, which became operational in February 2022, the technology employed here has made it easy to identify these oil thieves and apprehend them as well. Now, since installation, taking a look at this board, we can clearly see about 196 illegal refineries have been identified and deactivated. About 413.6 thousand barrels of crude also been recovered. Here we see 30.5 million liters of diesel also recovered. Now here 460.8 thousand liters of petrol has also been recovered. Same goes, of course, for kerosene, as we can see here. The records show now all this were achieved between April to date. Taking a look at the next board that we see here, you can clearly see that illegal refineries have been identified with their exact coordinates right here. That is what the screen is showing us at the moment. Now, if you wait a little longer, you will get to see a live picture or live video of these pits spread across in a place called Ahoda in Rivers State. Fascinating image that we see here. The pits are scattered all over. Business is thriving. What we see in most of these sacks are actually sacks of crude oil. Everyone is all part of the business here. The river close by is gone because it's all black. You might actually just call that a crude oil well. Business is thriving, and from what you see, this has been going on for a very long time. The signs of stopping them, well, we're going to have to see how that plays out in the coming months as the government pins their location, sends the information to security operatives, be it from the federal government or private security firms, to walk in there and deactivate this particular business that has been going on for a very long time. On this particular part, we can actually clearly see that you can easily spot the hot zones in this particular area. The red actually, gives us the critical areas here, as we can see. And in these critical areas, we're talking about places where, of course, all sorts are going on at this point. Illegal refineries.
Now, without allowing that to obviously go on. Now, it's giving you the idea of what I'm saying here. Isn't that mind blowing that we have such technology? You can see some drone footage, live feed, showing where these activities are happening. Yet, we had a president who, for 8 years, was the Minister of Petroleum, who knew about all this, theft, yet did virtually nothing. And many people now argue, is Buhari not part of those that was stealing the oil?
Well, I mean, Mazi, when I saw this report, I was disappointed. I was disappointed that the government is showing this to Nigerians through Arise television, as if they have done something that nobody else have done before. For years, I have been saying that Saudi Arabia, for about, I think I first came across that video. I don't know whether you've ever seen it before. A very massive board in somewhere in the capital of Saudi Arabia, wherever that is, where they are tracking the oil that they are selling, because there is no oil theft there. They are tracking the oil that is being lifted from wherever they are lifting from, oil well, because they don't have a delta, so theirs is in the desert. So they are lifting it from wherever they are lifting it from, and they are following every inch of the way by satellite. They are following where their oil is going, who is buying it, how many barrels is being bought, and which pipeline it is going through, and which ship it is going to be loaded upon. That's how sophisticated theirs is. So now, when you come back to this report is just telling you what is happening where there are refineries, crude refineries, crudely made oil that they are taking and refining and selling as some kind of petrol, some kind of a diesel. It is not done properly, and so it is not properly refined. It does not have a proper the proper technology is not in place to do it. So now what they are showing you from, what do they call it, from their satellite and from whatever it is that they claim, NNPC claims, this is the one I'm talking about. Now, compare this one that you're looking at, people, anybody listening, compare what you are seeing here and compare the one to that Arise reported on. It's not the same. The technology is not the same. The issue is not the same. The issue in the Niger Delta region, and I maintain till today that Nigerian government should stop playing around with the intelligence of people. They should tell us how much oil Shell is lifting. Saudi Arabia knows how much oil it is selling to what oil company that is lifting at what time. Nigeria should stop lying to people by lying to itself, whoever is approving this, this to go on air. They are not the same thing. The stories is not the same. They are making it seem as if the oil theft we're discussing is the one that is being done in the Niger Delta crudely by Nigerians. It is not only Niger Delta people that are doing this crude now. Even northerners are involved in it. When they catch them, it's not only Ijaw people, it's not only Igbo people, there are Yoruba people, there are Igbo people, there are northerners involved in this thing that is going on that they're talking about in Ahoda and all those places. Yes, the place is polluted, and that's what I have spent the last 25 years of my life talking about and fighting against. Now, this report is giving the wrong impression of what we are saying is going on in the Niger Delta. We are saying that they are stealing oil. This oil is being stolen decades ago, not this crude cooking that started maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, full blown, that it is there. No, that's not what we're talking about. Yes, it's part of it, but it's a minuscule amount of what is going on. So Nigeria, as usual, the government as usual, is painting a picture that is really not a truthful picture of what is going on when we say that oil is being stolen. Oil is being stolen, and yet Nigeria claims it is still able to sell 1.2 million barrels of oil a day. There has got to be a level of lies there that is not true. Nigeria does not know how much oil it is lifting. It is going by the estimate of what the oil companies are telling them. The oil companies themselves are part of it. By my estimation, by my knowledge of what I know that is going on in the Niger Delta, before even Buhari became president, before even Yaradua became president, I demonstrated this oil theft thing to Yaradua. I demonstrated it to him how it was going on. So now, when we're talking about oil theft, Nigeria should, the government and the people who claim to be in oil business, whether they are upstream, downstream, whatever it is that they call themselves, whether they are importers, exporters, I don't see how you can export the crude of what you have and then take it and refine it outside of Nigeria when you have 4 refineries or so, one outside the Niger Delta that doesn't produce oil. Kaduna does not produce oil. So I see no reason why there should be a refinery in Kaduna if it isn't that we're doing things that are just unacceptable. Why should there be? It is an issue of creating work for people where the source is. You now take crude oil and go and refine it in Kaduna. For what are you doing that? Are they bringing ginger to come and do what with it? Turn it into ginger juice in Port Harcourt and then export it abroad? What type of thing is it? So these are the things that we are saying that is going on in Nigeria. One, I repeat myself, the amount that the government is saying is being stolen is not that amount. There is 2 ways of looking at it. Either the government is inflating the amount of crude that is being stolen so that they themselves, the people in charge, will the thieves of this crude will themselves be able to cream off what is on top to justify the amount that they say is being stolen. It's all a method of fooling the people and cheating the people. First of all, cheating the Niger Delta people, because this crude is in our soil, it belongs to us. Federal government have taken it by the constitution, that's fine. We're discussing that one. But this crude oil is being stolen from the top to the bottom. The stealing started from the top. It is now that it has reached the bottom that the thing is offending them, because ordinary people too are now able to steal what they steal in billions. Ordinary people are stealing it maybe in thousands of naira.
So would it be fair, in your opinion, to say that Buhari supervised monumental oil theft in the last 8 years?
Well, let me put it like this. If you recall, and I'm sure you do, that there is a video where Buhari said that who is fooling who, that there is no subsidy. There is a video where Buhari said that before he became
subsidy is a scam.
That subsidy is a scam. If you remember, in 2012, Jonathan attempted just before Christmas, around Christmas, New Year, of breaking into 2013. Jonathan removed subsidy. He had a meeting in the villa, and he invited even the NGOs. Femi Falana was there, Yinka Odumaki was there, I was there, Oronto Douglas, so many activists were there. Let me see, who else was there? I don't know if Olisa Agbakoba was there, but so many other activists were in that meeting with Jonathan when he said he is going to remove subsidy. And people like Falana got up and told him that it is agreeable that they should remove subsidy, but not now. They shouldn't remove subsidy now. But some of us said they should remove subsidy. I was one of those people that said they should remove it immediately, because subsidy is the mother of all lies in Nigeria. From day one, when subsidy was proposed and put together, before even I think Obasanjo came in 1999, they've been paying a subsidy, maybe silently, I believe. But by the time it became a full-blown knowledge thing, when Jonathan removed that subsidy, we all saw Occupy Nigeria. Buhari was in the forefront of Occupy Nigeria. He was part of the demonstration. My late brother and colleague and comrade, Yinka Odumaki, my sister, his wife, Pastor Tunde Bakari, so many people were involved in Occupy Nigeria, and Jonathan survived that. And the price of petrol was not even, it didn't even go up to 100 naira. It was about 90 something, 97 or 93 naira. And people, all sorts of people were abusing Jonathan, his wife, his mother, his dead father. At the end of the day, 10 years on, yes, about 10 years, 2022, 2023, about 11 years
10 years on, yeah.
11 years on, the same people that were asking for Jonathan's head because of subsidy removal are not bringing their head for us to cut it off, but they've removed subsidy, which they should remove because they know themselves. The thieves, the people who are involved in this subsidy scam, they know themselves. They are not even bringing any form of fuel or diesel or kerosene into Nigeria. They're coming in ships that don't exist, are being listed as having come into Nigeria. And when they are listed, and when they have been listed, they come in empty. There is nothing in them. And if they don't come in empty, there are other people's private this thing that they sell and put in tank farm. Like what the Dangote's, as far as I'm concerned, you know, anybody can say what they like. As far as I'm concerned, Dangote's refinery is just one big massive farm tank. That is what it is going to end up to be, because it's not going to be possible. Anyway, we shall see what's possible and what's not possible in the future. You know, so that video that they are showing us is a scam, as far as I'm concerned, because it's not about the crude oil being cooked in Ahoda. We're talking about the crude oil that is being stolen and put on ships that are now going into Europe, going into Russia. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about hungry people who should have jobs and don't have jobs and are now going in there to because the corruption has come from up to down to reach them, and so they are part of the system now.
Okay, so I mean, this is the video you alluded to.
Cost of one barrel at the wellhead, and then the cost of transportation to the refinery, the cost of refining it, and its cost at the pump. If anybody said he is subsidizing anything, he is a fraud. He is a fraud. He is a fraud.
3 years ago they promised many things. We know see one out of the 100 they say. 3 years ago they
anything
that the person is a fraud. So basically, what he's saying is that
he paid subsidy for 8 years. That means
so he's a fraud.
Deductive analysis will say that Buhari is a fraud.
Yeah, of course. I mean, because he said anybody who is paying who says he's paying subsidy, that the person is a fraud. Well, he is saying he paid subsidy for the 8 years that he was there, so he's a fraud. I mean, that one is just you know, a calculation that you must do for yourself. Even a primary person will answer that question.
So let's come back here, because the video that trended, that was made in the Asari Villa that we started with, actually was loaded and had a lot of things to it.
And so we have to make this very, very clear to the Nigerian public.
So the video started by
99% of oil theft can be traced to the Nigerian military.
Now, I mean, let's not quarrel over percentage, but 99%, that's huge.
Well, I mean, my brother, I'm sitting down on my table in my house and I'm talking to you. Asari that gave the interview is also somewhere, sitting down somewhere, anywhere he is. He made that statement. So he actually has his own facts with which he made that statement. So I'm not going to be in a position to agree or disagree with Asari, whether it is 9% or 99% or 100%. What I personally have said is that not everybody is involved in the oil theft in the Niger Delta. But definitely, if there is oil theft going on, and this is military, and we're saying the military is involved. If the military is involved, military
Vandals do
people,
not only attack the pipelines.
the military people,
From the
they
pipeline
work
and
with
have gone
strict
directly to
instructions.
the oil
So
well heads.
if the military are there and they have a command, and the stealing is going on, the command cannot say in the creek that it is not aware of what is going on. And the command in Port Harcourt that controls the command in the creek, and the command in Abuja that controls the command in Port Harcourt, can also not say that they don't know what is going on. We all look that there has been gunfights in the creeks between the joint task force people, which is made up of Army, Navy, Air Force, police, and all of that. There has been gunfight between soldiers and people of the people that are involved in crude oil, and they have also said it over and over again that these people are involved in this work with them. They pay them for passing in front of them. They are also involved. Even Governor Wike has mentioned the commandant at that time by name. We have been saying it. Tompolo has said it. Even the oil companies themselves are agreeing that there is oil theft going on. So quite honestly, I do not see what is so strange to the army that Asari said it. I'm saying to you that Pengassin has said it too. In 2022, Pengassin had a statement out on the 22nd of September 2022, where they also noted that the military is involved. We're not saying the whole military is involved, but you cannot say that the military is not involved. If anything, you should come and prove that you're not involved. And it shouldn't be the other way around. It's got nothing to do with the people that are deprived of their fishing and their farming, we that have to drink polluted water, we that have to wade through the rivers and the creeks of pollution. What are they talking about? You know, so for me, what Asari said is neither an expose, nor is it something that Asari has thrown a bomb. What bomb has he thrown? As if, okay, is it that, what are they quarreling about? Is it
no,
that
I think the issue here is not that Asari has said something that we never had before. I think it's about where he said it from. This is the seat of power.
Okay, fine. Now, you see, if that is the issue, see, Asari Dokubo today now has accepted that he's a Nigerian citizen.
Anyway, I was going to come to that.
Yes, because there was a time Adakaboro raised arms against the Nigerian government, and after that, the same my leader and my hero of Ijaw people also ended up fighting on the Nigerian side of the war. Now, Asari himself, amongst other Ijaw sons, have also found themselves in a position where they have had to draw attention to what is going on in the Niger Delta by carrying arms. Now, in that process of carrying arms, Asari himself, I mean, we all know Asari. Asari will not hide his mouth to say anything. He will say it ho-ha. He has said that there was a time he said he's not a Nigerian. So if today he says he's a Nigerian, then today he's a Nigerian. There has been a time when Asari has also said that in the same interview, he has also said that he works with the military. And he has also mentioned states that he's working with the military with. One thing I do know is that in my area, from the East-West Road, there is a place where we call, in Rivers State, where we call Emoha Junction. You enter into that Emoha Junction, going towards Abonima, going towards Buguma and Degema. that's the road you take when you want to go by road to my community, to Buguma and to Degema. Now, if you take that road before this time, there was very, very serious, a high level of kidnapping of our people that was going on in that place. And it is this same Asari and his boys that we saw on those roads that made people to have confidence to begin to go home without fear that they will be kidnapped. And kidnapping did stop at that time when he took over to secure the place. So now, and a personal individual cannot do that unless if it is with the knowledge and agreement of the government. And so when he says that he has been able to protect the road from Abuja to Kaduna, just going by what he has been able to do in Rivers State, the way leading to my place, I don't know if he's doing it any other place, I don't know, but leading to our place, he comes from Bugma as well, and he lives in the other, in Obama community, which is also related in. Now, that route has become safer than it ever was before. So now, there used to be soldiers there, and police, soldiers and police there, JTF there. But right now, there was a time when they were no longer there. So Asari was able to secure that place. So for me, if Asari says that he was working with the government and he kept Kaduna's state and he kept Abuja, that route safe, and he's working in other states that he mentioned, I have no reason to doubt him. Why will I not doubt him? I would not doubt him because he has done that in my state.
Sure. I mean, understanding that you won't doubt him, let's actually listen to what he said, with his own mouth.
Of this country. And many local government, many communities are deserted, schools are closed, hospitals are closed. In the same vein, in Niger, in Zamfara, in Plateau, in Kaduna, in Yobe, in Borno, we're only talking about Boko Haram. Boko Haram is just a tip of the iceberg. There's a full-scale war going on. And the blackmail of the Nigerian state by the Nigerian military is shameful. They said they do not have enough armament. And people listen to these false narratives. They are lying. They are liars. I repeat, they are liars because I am a participant. I am a participant in this war. I fight on the side of the government of the Nigerian state, in Plateau, in Niger, in Anambra, in Imo, in Abia, and in Rivers State, and in Abuja. Today you are traveling to Kaduna on this road. It's not the army that made it possible to travel for you to travel to Abuja or travel to Kaduna, vice versa. It is my men, employed by the government of the Nigerian state, stationed in Niger. Today you go to Baga, you go to Chirolo, you go to Wase. We have lost so many men. And we do not use, in all this engagement, we don't even have 1% of the armament deployed by the Nigerian military. 1%. And we have had resounding success.
Now, it's quite interesting to know that a government that prides itself that it will never, or that it had no business to do with mercenaries, then it's coming out at this point that they actually engaged mercenaries for various states. It's coming out now that in Borno, in Zamfara, in Katsina, the dreaded Abuja Kaduna highway, that a private army of sort was the reason why there appears to have been some level of sanity returned to those areas. Again, isn't that also a clear indictment against the Nigerian army that they have failed in doing their duties? In fact, the whole Nigerian security apparatus, if you only take an individual to actually begin to do this, isn't that a clear indictment?
Yes. See, if you take what Asari has said, here, look, he made one very critical statement, and that's Asari for you. You either like him or you don't like him, but that's him. Asari can be here today, and tomorrow he can, for whatever reason, change his mind and be in another place. And I think we all actually, if we want to be sincere with ourselves, we all actually do that. If we don't do that, then we're not true to ourselves. Look, Asari is saying, I am involved in this war. Asari is the only person that has come out to call what is going on in Nigeria a war. Even the military has refused to call it a war. The federal government have refused to call it a war. Asari is calling it a war. Don't forget, Asari was not involved in this thing today. He was involved when Buhari was president. He was involved, his involvement, I don't know what date or what year, but his involvement, from what he is saying, I won't even say claiming, from what he is categorically saying, he says he's employed by the federal government, him and his boys are employed by the federal government. That's what Asari said. Moving forward.
And the contract continued. Government handed over and the contract continued.
Yes. So Asari is saying that he is playing security role in Nigeria. And he's mentioned the places. He's mentioned his own home state, Rivers State, which I have affirmed to you. What I know he is doing on the road that leads from East-West Road junction of Emoha Junction into Buguma and Abonima, where I come from. And Degema, you have to pass Degema from Emoha. You pass Emoha, you pass other communities before you get to Abonima. And then on the left-hand side is Buguma, where Asari is also from. So now, if Asari is saying that he's working with the federal government, it is up to the federal government to say, no, Asari, you're lying. You're not working with the federal government. If the federal government is quiet and the army is quiet on the issue of security and is now shouting that Asari should come and prove if it is 99% or 100% that is stealing the oil, and then they should also come and prove that Asari is lying when he says that he is doing security work. Not only is he doing, he actually further in that interview, he posed a question that this is a country that one time was willing to bring in South African mercenaries to fight Boko Haram, and that was during Jonathan's 4 years. He said that was done. So if now this is being done now, and he is the one that it is being done, why? I mean, what is the argument there now that Asari said he is securing Abuja Road to Kaduna Road? He mentioned the states, So the point, therefore, is for me. The point for me, therefore, is that if you recall, this is very close to what happened recently in Russia. I mean, Putin had a man who has a private army that he sent into, and some of them are supposed to be from Belarus or something like that.
Yeah, the Wagner group.
Yes.
Or the Wagner.
Yeah, I mean, that man is not. He was a chef. He was a Putin chef or something like that. And then eventually, he had the capacity and courage of self that he's now heading a section that is supposed to be fighting in on the Russian side against
Ukraine.
against Ukraine, and did a lot of damage in the Ukraine war against the Ukraine people. And then when he had a fallout with the so-called big guns in the Russian military, this was where his issue now started. And you know, so definitely, if Asari says that this is what is going on and this is his role, he's come out to say that he is a participant in this war.
Isn't that obviously we all know there are other videos, one of where he was wielding AK-47 and made some comments that have ilked certain section of the country. And in another video, he can be seen at the same time saying that he was not a Nigerian, that he was actually, or rather he is a Joe. In another video, he can also be seen saying that his great-grandfathers came from the other side, Igbo. For context here, for those of you watching us now who may not necessarily, if you haven't watched these videos, for context, let me quickly show us this, then we'll bring the other one so that we merge it together to make meaning. And
you take your leprosy hand to write. You don't have respect for the people who bought your father. Is it every Calabar man that is a Calabar man? Do you know your roots? That you talk to me. You don't know that people own this Calabar. You are law-abiding. Igbos, I don't know them. I don't know where they come from. Because I know that if not for British intervention, I would still be selling them.
Now, he said that he doesn't know where Igbos came from, that if it is not for British intervention, he will still be selling them. For context here, let's also play.
Even though I have Igbo blood flowing in my vein, I am not an Igbo man today.
I was coming to that. What's the meaning of Ediabali?
Ediabali is an animal, but what it literally means, what is contextual meaning of Ediabali is he who kills at night. My great ancestor, Buhari, Harry Braid, was originally an Igbo man from Obom in Abam. His parents moved to Obosi in present Anambra State, both in present Anambra State.
Now, if he actually can trace the history of his ancestors and where they came from, I think it will be an intellectual harakiri to ignore, if you want to talk about history, you can't go back in terms of saying you are no longer this, but you're this. Because if we go back properly, it would only make sense that his forefathers, as he alluded, were Igbos, and they came from today, present-day Southeast. And there is never a time. It will be a thing of bragging because it is, history does not support what he's alluding to, that he sold Igbos for slaves. In context, it can actually be, I would rather say that Asari was a victim of slave trade. Those who came from the hinterland probably stopped at the waterfront before the slave trade stopped. And, they now settled there. So it doesn't, the context doesn't really gel. What do you think?
Well, you see, luckily enough, history is just what it is. It's a pity that, it is a pity and a known fact that that Black people as a people are identified as not wanting or liking to go into history, to be able to look into history. Now, it is a lot of things are historical facts when it comes to people's ancestry. You understand? People's ancestry. These are historical facts. And these facts go on for centuries and centuries and centuries, you know. Now, let me give you my battery. Let me just quickly, I will lift the phone and try and do this so that I can get the charge.
Let me allow you sort that out, then I'll bring you back.
Okay, thank you very much.
So people, the conversation, as I had asked this question, is obviously we all understand that Asari alludes to the fact that his forefathers sold Igbos, but my belief from historical context here, his forefathers came from, you know, majority of the people within that area came from the today's Obose Nnewi area, and we are at the verge of being exported before the abolition of slave trade. And in anger and for the betrayal that happened with their families in the hinterland, many of them became angry that they could no longer move back home, that place that they called home before they were taken as slaves. Therefore, if someone who, I hope my guest is almost ready, then I can bring her in. If someone who, in my view, was a victim, whom I believe his forefathers were, you know, sadly so, we're at the verge of being exported before the slave trade stopped, and they now settled within that vicinity, whom genetically is Igbo. If he now says that he was the one that sold Igbos, okay, I think my guest is back now. Okay, I think you're able to
yeah, I've hooked up. My battery was just about to die. Okay, is the picture clear because of light and all?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, good. Definitely, as I was saying, history is a wonderful thing, and we all owe it to ourselves and the future and the past to know our history. Asari is 60 years old. 60. Now, Asari definitely as a person was not involved in slave trade, because by the time, I'm older than Asari, by the time I was born, slave trade has stopped. Slave trade stopped like more than a century ago, 18 something, that slave trade was stopped. But the very British people were also involved in the slave trade. The Portuguese, the Germans, the British, and the Americans were not physically involved. These are all historical facts, but they were taken to Americas. But the Americans did not enter Africa as the British did, or the others did. So you see, for me as a person and who I am, I have to be very clear about my own ancestry. And so I am not going to intervene in who Asari says he is today or who Asari says he was yesterday. That's completely Asari's choice and Asari's right. His choice and his right. And people, I think that people should take him on and ask him these questions. And if he's willing, if Asari wants to answer, he will answer those questions. And if you ask him to prove what he's saying, he will prove what he's saying. But personally, me personally, I will not put myself in a position where anyone will say things that they have a right to say, and that thing they are saying will in any way, shape, or form be that is my own thinking as well, or the thinking of me as as a Calabari person, they're thinking of me as a Rivers person, or Niger Delta person, or Nigerian for that matter, when it comes to it, whether we believe and accept that we're Nigerians or we're not Nigerians. This is our choice to make. Even Nnamdi Kanu, there was a time Asari was in association with Nnamdi Kanu. Even Nnamdi Kanu had accepted that Asari was involved in his safety, in him being lifted out of his community to safety before he surfaced in the United Kingdom, his other home. So when you look at all these things, my people, and you put all these things together, everybody makes their own decision and say what they say by themselves and for themselves. Asari is what Asari has said, whether he was carrying AK-47 and showing it, and what he has said about Igbo people, it is for Asari to explain or not explain if he doesn't want to explain, but it should not be taken. It cannot be taken by Igbo people as the view of any people from River State, whether it's River State or whether it's Calabari people, Ijaw people, or Ogoni people. I will tell you, or any other ethnic nationality of the Niger Delta. You see, what is happening here today that we should be looking at is that the Igbo man, and I've continuously said this, that we must look ourselves first from the position of an ethnic nationality. Because look, if you cannot identify yourself as an ethnic nationality, then who are you in Nigeria? You can't just be there is nobody that is just a Nigerian. What do they mean by I'm a Nigerian? What's the meaning of that? You are an Ijaw woman or man that is a Nigerian, because it is the fact that Ijaw is in Nigeria that makes you a Nigerian. If Ijaw is in Ghana, I'll be a Ghanaian. So everybody has to claim who they are. This talk about, one Nigeria, there is nothing like one Nigeria. We don't speak the same language. We don't have the same culture. We don't have the same food. We don't worship the same God. We worship differently. So we are not just Nigerians. We are Yoruba man who is in Nigeria. Awolowo said it. He is a Yoruba man before he's a Nigerian. People should get this ideology out of their head that if you say you are a proud Igbo man, you are an Igbo man, that you're not a good Nigerian. If you're not a good Igbo man, how can you be a good Nigerian? How can you be a good Nigerian? You have to identify yourself with somebody. Look, in Britain, there is, when you fill forms in Britain, they ask you ethnicity. They ask you whether you're white, whether you're African white, whether you're Asian white, whether you're Chinese white, whether you're this white, you're that white. When I have to fill form in when I'm here and they ask for my ethnicity, and I'm not offended by it, and I ask for my ethnicity, and they ask for my ethnicity, I put what is closest to it, which is what? British African, because they don't say British Nigerian. I used to write British Nigerian, but I realized that when you write British Nigerian, when they input it, they still do it British African. African, yeah. Yes, British African. That is the ethnicity that I am. But my mother is British. My father is an Ijaw man from Nigeria. There are some people, their mother is from Ogoni. Their father is from Ikwere in River State. Some people, their mother is Ishekiri. Their father is Ijaw from Bayelsa or Ijaw from River State. I have a friend. Her mother is from Ishekiri. Her father is from Abonima. She's Ijaw. And then there are some people in Bayelsa. Their father, Chief Ike Clark, he's part, is it to Robo? I think he's connected. So this is our history. This is our historical fact. Now, the issue of Kalabari people, Ijaw people intermarrying with Igbo people, Ogoni people intermarrying with Igbo people is a fact. It's a fact. So therefore, if your mother is Igbo and you're married into Kalabari, that does not make you a slave. Or your grandmother. Some of us is our grandparents. Some of us is our great-grandparents. You know? So it does not, the slave trade was done from the hinterland, and they came by ship to kidnap people. What the British and the Portuguese and all those people did was kidnapping. They kidnapped people, they stole human beings and sold them and took them. Where did they put them in aeroplane? They couldn't have put them in aeroplane. So they had to bring them to the places where their ship was bettered. Where was their ship anchoring? In the mouth of the Atlantic Ocean. So when they bring the slaves, they now bring them to places like Bonny, places, other African countries also had slaves. It's not only, slave trade. Ghana, Gambia, all those places. I've been to where there is a place where they call the Tree of No Return. It was in Gambia. I've been there. And when you get to that tree, you pass through a community, and then you're by the mouth of the waters, at the rivers. And then from there, people just walk until they get on the ship, and then they put them in boats, and then they take them to the ship. You know, so if this is Asari's position today in Nigeria, that's his position. Asari made it clear that he's working with the military, and he has proven that he's working with the Nigerian government. He went to visit Tinubu for crying out loud in the villa. It's not everybody that can enter the villa now. He went to visit Tinubu in the villa. He was welcomed.
But it wasn't an ordinary visit. He
went to Tinubu. No, that is where I'm going now. He was welcomed into the villa. He didn't get crashed. He was given a time. We all know how these things work now. He was given a time. So he went into the villa. He was cleared all the way to the office of where they call the office of the president. He didn't go to his residence. He went to the office. The steps he was coming down from is the steps that comes down from the office of the president, whoever is there at the time. You know, so when he was coming down those stairs, he had already seen him, and he was coming down the stairs. Now, Asari did not walk himself to the press room, where press conference is held, and you have journalists waiting there to speak to whoever the office of the president says they should speak to. Asari could not have entered that place to sit down on that chair and address the press conference that he addressed without the Tinubu knowing that that's what he was going to do, without the chief of staff to Tinubu knowing that that's what he was going to do, you know, without the secretary to federal government knowing that that's what he was going to do. Tinubu not only received Asari, he came down with Asari, or he was either, that photo shop we saw, he was either waiting for Asari to take him upstairs, or he had finished with Asari and they came downstairs. But Asari was treated like a VIP, whether we like it or not now. That was what happened. Who else, apart from Bill Gates, that has visited Tinubu, who else as a Nigerian that has visited Tinubu the way that Asari visited him? And mind you, Asari did a lot of work for him in this election. Whether it is accepted or not, that is, I mean, Asari has done the work that, and it's not only Asari that worked for Tinubu, but Asari is the only person.
We all are living witnesses of how marvelous that work was done in Rivers State.
There you go, you know. So the point I'm therefore trying to make is that blaming Asari that, oh, how did he get to the power, the seat of power or seat, whatever their argument is. For me, it doesn't make any sense. Asari did not get up from Obuama and relocated to Abuja on his own. And so if he had gone to the presidency, he has seen Tinubu and he has come down and he has been told to go into that room, the press room, and to make a press statement or say whatever is on his mind that he wants to say, whether they knew the content or they didn't know the content, is between them and Asari. But Asari had the opportunity to say what he said at the place where he said it. If anybody needs to ask questions, they should ask the presidency. They should ask Tinubu. But Asari was allowed there by the person he went to see. For me,
I think it's a very fine place to anchor this, and it's going to form in the coming days, in the coming months. You know, it's going to be an interesting time ahead, where the results and the outcome of the last election is still being challenged, and a lot is happening. You know, a lot of meaning is being read in so many things that's currently happening on Twitter now as we speak. There are, or rather, there is a trending tweet. You know, I think I made that tweet yesterday, where in the Lagos hospital, people, one of the forms that is to be filled has not only your ethnicity, it has your place of residence, it has your religion, and it has your ethnic stock. And some of these things are based on the tensions as a result of the 2023 presidential election and even the governorship, the tensions that has come therefrom. A lot of people are now sitting on the edge with a lot of suspicion, you know, looking at a lot of things and saying, are these things happening because of, as a continuation of what happened before the election? So we are looking at a lot of things happening now. Obviously, one of the reasons also is that people are beginning to read meaning into Asari Dokubo's visit. You know, some are questioning, is he now the private chief of army staff? If he is the protector of the Kaduna, Abuja road and Zamfara and other states in Nigeria, a private individual, you know, protecting that, what is then the state security apparatchik doing? It's been a great conversation this evening, and I thank you very much for joining me.
Please, there is something that has crossed my mind, and I must please allow me to throw it in. Give me like 5 minutes or so. Number one, I think that the United Nations and America particularly, who is always very quick to claim that they want to join the Nigerian government to fight terrorism and to fight insecurity in Nigeria. I will also suggest to them that they should actually also contact Asari Dokubo, because he also, without the government disputing it, he also has shown very clearly by what he said that he is also working in Nigeria towards eradicating insecurity and attacking terrorism as Boko Haram, according to him. What is happening? I mean, but it's child's play compared to Boko Haram. Why do I say that? Because you see, I mean, unless the government is saying that what Asari is saying is not true, they should also reach out to Asari, because he has demonstrated by what he said. And I think that is very, very important. Truly, I'm not joking. You know, number two, the other thing I want to input into people from the Niger Delta region and people from the southeast, the people I prefer to call Ndibo, and from Alaibu. You know, I believe, and I've always said it, this, Mazi, when we've had, when I've been honored enough to be invited to where Igbos are gathered, and they invite me, which happens regularly, and I'm very proud and very honored at the same time that they see me as somebody that they can also discuss with. I want to say that, look, it is about time. If Lagos State has passed a law that if whatever form you want to fill in, whatever it is you want to do, you must write your ethnicity, you must write your religion. I mean, then every state should also have that, pass that law. Every state should pass that law. It should be in Rivers State. People should carry identity card. People should carry identity card issued by their state of origin, signed by the governor, signed with the seal of the government of the state, to indicate that you are a citizen of that state. Because you cannot have one state alone in Nigeria saying that people must identify their religion, people must identify their ethnicity, and then other states are not doing it. I will call that very foolish and very cowardly. Every state must pass this law. And for anybody, you see, that is why I refuse to live outside of Rivers State. And I refuse to live outside of Rivers State, full stop. I've never lived in Abuja. I've never lived in any place in my life except in Rivers State and in the United Kingdom. I will not live anywhere else because that's where my roots are. I am from Rivers State. I have no desire to live in Lagos. I don't care what is in Lagos. I don't want to live there. I don't care what's in Abuja. I don't want to live there. I don't mind going there, but I want to go back to my home. And people who are investing in outside their what do you call it, their region and outside their state, it is time to rethink. It is time to rethink. It is almost foolish to invest your money into brick and mortar in another man's land, where if one day they say you cannot be here. It has happened before. Has it not happened before? It has happened before. That is why we have the issue of abandoned property. If you want to build house, build one. If you're investing at your own risk. You cannot build 50 houses and call it investment in another man's land. And now, because you have that investment, you now want to grida in that place, and then hold on to this unacceptable position that there is something called one Nigeria. If it is one Nigeria, why would Lagos State ask people to identify themselves by their this and by their? I don't care if you ask me for my blood group, as long as it allows me to identify myself as an Ijaw woman and from Rivers State. I'm from Rivers State.
Yeah,
if you allow me to identify myself like that, I will. But when you come to my state, you too must identify yourself like that. Who are you to say that other people must identify themselves by their culture, by their food and everything, by their cloth they wear? And then you will come to Port Harcourt, you go to Enugu.
Anyway,
the
argument is still raging on Twitter, and we may have to do a program on that to get the medical, because the argument now is that it is a medical requirement to know the ethnicity of people. I mean, it's. I think anyone watching can go to.
It is profiling, my brother.
I understand, but it's good. It's actually.
It is profiling.
I made that tweet about 20 hours ago. Now, as I speak to you, the tweet has got 1.5 million reactions. You know, it's actually gone gaga. I'll put it this way.
It is profiling.
You know, so people are arguing up and down on that tweet. I think it's such civil conversations that we must begin to we must begin to have, demand things that are confusing, things that even if we think is profiling, but we must demand why would that happen? Like you said, that others should do. No, hold on. That, like you said, that others should do. The question is, when you have medical doctors demand that, because some people have been sending screenshots from the forms in America, forms in UK, where it has, like in the UK, where the NHS will ask, are you British, African, Caribbean, whatever. So now the question is, in Nigeria, based on ethnic tension, is it actually wise at the moment to ask someone if you already have the ethnic you have a state of origin, you have state of residence. The question is, why do you still have to identify by ethnicity? So these are questions that if you want to be part of that conversation, please, you could, if you have Twitter app, the Bluebird app on your phone, head to Twitter and you see Mazi Ezeoke there. That is Maaziezeoke. The conversation is obviously since yesterday, though, as usual, some of us are taking some of these things out of context. Some have gone on ethnic drive. Some are only name callings. I unusually block people, but some veil comments already that I said, nah, this can't stand, and that individual is definitely toxic to even have any form of mature conversation with. You can basically do away with such people. But anyway, that's the much we can take. Thank you very much for being part of this, and I am still Maaziezeoke, and I say peace out, and thank you for being part of this Friday hangout. Oh, okay. I think
I'm back.
Rick is back again. So let's quickly round up.
Okay.
So, like I said, it's something that generates conversation. So it's neither here nor there, but we must know the reasoning, because there are people who have asked question: when was those forms made? Were those forms done before the elections? And these are things we need to find out. Are they new forms? Do other states have such forms? If people have those in other states, we should bring it. If they don't, then it must inform that type of conversations that we must have.
I agree. We must have these conversations, my brother, because if we don't have them, our people really right now, when I say our people, I mean our people down east and our people down Niger Delta. We really, at this particular moment, I don't see our footing. We have no footing in this state called Nigeria. We just don't have it. We have just had 8 years of unbelievable nepotism, that I have not seen at any other time in Nigeria. And I recall 1960 to this time. But I also remember watching a program where I was discussing it with you, one of those videos of Amadou Bello, where he was explaining his feelings about people who are Igbos and people who are from the eastern part of. At that time, we were also part of eastern part of Nigeria, and he quite rightly said that it is about northern Nigeria. I agree with him till today. It is about northern Nigeria for them. What the sad thing was that it was not about eastern Nigeria for people like Zik, because it was definitely about Western Nigeria for Awolowo at that time. And he said it, that he is first of all a Yoruba man before he is a Nigerian. And so we are still the only people who really think that the survival of Nigeria as a country, as it will suit people that are coming in to take our resources and all of those things, as it will suit them to keep Nigeria, this contraption that the British colonial government have put together for their own economic reason and development up till today, that we're not able to see past that fact and do something that will elevate the Nigerian person, as they call them, as we're called. And we find ourselves in a situation where Kenya, a country like Kenya, can hold an election and go to court and decide. The judges have the guts to be able to decide what they decided on the basis of law. The world did not fall apart. And these same people have gone to every forum in the past 1-2 years driving the African man's, the cheating of the African man, and standing their ground and saying that if you're coming to take resources in my country, you must also come in here. Let us develop the resources here, and you take away the developed resources from what you need here. You don't, I mean, like anything that is sold raw from Africa, the pricing is done in dollar. The pricing is done in dollar. Who determines the price in dollar? Not the owner. The man who needs it is the one that is determining the price. What type of madness is in our head?
We indeed have a very long way to go, but as usual, the conversation is unending. We will be, find time to come back and really give meat to what we discussed before, the derivation principle in light of the divestment from the NNPC. Is going to also be another interesting topic, and we will want to bring you back and bring some other people from the Niger Delta to have a look at that, because we must keep on sustaining and discussing the things that affect the people and the people of Nigeria. Thank you very much once more for being my guest this evening. Thank you. And
thank you. Thank you. And Anthony, I'm seeing one guy, Anthony Okonkwo. Anthony Okonkwo, I have always believed in my ethnicity. I'm not just another person. That is my mantra. That anybody would tell you, to the extent that they say I'm an ethnic bigot. Well, if that is what it means to support my people, then I proudly wear that that dress that you put on me.
Thank you very much, sis. Thank you very much. Thank you for being part of this.